Hello and welcome to Get Warmed Up. You're coming on, talking all things football. My name's Ed and I'm joined by my co-host Max.
Hello.
And Mike.
Good evening.
And this week we're firstly going to be discussing the Champions League and Europa League second legs and who's going to be progressing through to the quarter-finals. Then we'll be moving on to Gareth Southgate's England squad that he's picked for the games against San Marino, Poland and Albania. And after game over, courtesy of Mike, we will be doing our Premier League predictions for this weekend's games. So, let's start off with those Champions League games this week. Real Madrid beating Atalanta 3-1 on Tuesday. Manchester City progressing against Borussia Mönchengladbach, beating them 2-0, 4-0 on aggregate. Last night, Bayern Munich beating Lazio 2-1 and progressing with a 6-2 aggregate over the Italian side. And then Chelsea putting in a great performance at home against Atletico Madrid and winning 3-0 on aggregate. So I'll come to Mike first. Were you surprised with any of those results? I think the one that probably stands out most is Chelsea's convincing performance over Atletico Madrid.
Yep. I mean, it's, firstly, it was hard to beat the heights of last season's Champions League. Actually, the last kind of 2 seasons of Champions League, I think. So, I've heard some people saying it's not quite the same this year, which I think rightly so is correct. It's all the same people that you'd expect in the last 8. Chelsea comprehensive win. However, I'm not sure if that says more about Chelsea and their rise or Atletico and their demise.
I think I agree with you on that. Atletico, it was a mix of both. Chelsea controlled the game and sort of nullified Atletico's threat, but the threat that Atletico gave was limited.
Like it has been for the last couple of seasons. It
was pretty convincing from Chelsea.
Well, it's pretty impressive, isn't it, considering the season that Atletico are having, really. They're not been amazing, but then again, defensively, they're always quite hard to break down, and I'm assuming that, they managed to break that down. And I did not think they were going to go through against Atletico. You've got to give all credit to Tuchel. And
the Atletico team is not, Lodi is not the same as Filipe Luis. Savage is not Godin. João Felix is not.
The Atletico. It's the recruitment. They're replacements of that era of side that won La Liga and then got to the Champions League final and just failed at the final hurdle against Real Madrid. I think it was in 2014, and then a couple of years later, you think those group of players have not been sufficiently replaced.
I guess they put all their eggs in one basket with João Felix, didn't they? What was it? Three figure millions.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, Mike. What I found interesting with this week's Champions League fixtures is that, with the exception of Juventus, all the teams that played away in the first leg and then played at home in the second leg progressed to the quarter-final. And I just wondered what both your thoughts would be on if there's a favourable way of doing a 2-legged game. Would you prefer to play away in the first leg, or would you prefer to play that home leg first?
I'll always say away second leg.
Oh, so for this,
I know obviously it goes against a lot of things, because obviously when the Anfield seem to be at home in the second leg, they always seem to bring it back, and a lot of other clubs seem to come back home and the fans get put on their side. But I personally think if you're at home first leg, all you've got to do is keep a clean sheet. Well, and it's obviously harder said than done, but if you could abuse the system if you're home first, I think, more.
This is the point. It's not at actual home grounds and stuff this season.
Yeah, I know, but just abusing the whole home advantage with you can just keep a clean sheet, and then all of a sudden, if you keep a clean sheet in the first leg, every goal is now essentially double in the second.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So I've always, and you can, and then also when you go into extra time, am I right in saying away goals still count in extra time, which is beyond me. And I just think when you get, if it goes in all square at extra time, you then, if you get a goal, you're just in a power play position, really, I think. But obviously it's gone against what this week's fixtures. So I think it's just a shambles, the rule anyway, at the minute, especially. I don't even know.
Well, you don't agree with the away goals rule at all?
I agree. The reason why they implemented it in the first place, I'm assuming, is because back in the 80s and whatnot, it would have been ridiculously a harder task to win away with going to, like, I don't know, Turkey with all the on the worst football pitch, and like you can just imagine walking down the tunnel in Turkey with people chucking stuff. Like, I don't even know, but I just think the whole experience of going away is not what it used to be at all. So
because you remember the 80s, don't you?
No, exactly. No, I'm not saying that. But
I think you're just saying that because of this season. It's not as effective this season being away. But I don't see, going to Galatasaray, going to, what is it, going into hell or whatever they like to say.
Why is it there? Is it too, because it's harder to win away from home? Is that why it's there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Naturally. Yes.
Well, both teams have to play away in 2 legs. So surely that nullifies that.
Well, then surely that also nullifies that if they both have.
Oh yeah.
If the away goes both count for both teams because they're both going away.
I just think it makes the game less exciting. I
think it makes it more exciting because it means the away side have so much, like, getting an away goal now is so special and so needed to be able to qualify, which makes teams who go away, they won't necessarily say sit back the whole game. They'll wait for an opportunity, get their goal, and then the home side would have to say score 2 or double the amount of away goals they score to progress. So it gives that element of
a lot of games could still be exciting, but then you realise that say if a goal was say if it was like 3-2 on aggregate across both legs, but the team that was 3-2 down was playing at home, it just means that it's pretty much an impossible task to win. So I don't know.
Let's go through who's through to the quarterfinal.
There you go.
Real Madrid, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Porto, Borussia Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain, and Liverpool. So
the usual suspects.
Let's look at it from maybe a biased English team perspective. Would the English teams, Manchester City, Chelsea, and Liverpool, who would they be looking to avoid, and would they actually be looking to avoid each other?
Well, I always think that I'm glad to still see a sort of an underdog in Porto still left in it, because you've always got there always seems to be a team in the Champions League, like, I don't know, you've had
Porto. It's always Porto. They're always the underdog that's in, but this.
But like previous years, you've had your Ajaxes like 2 years back, and then you've had your I don't know, Monaco before that, and then there's always seems to be some sort of underdog still left in, like at least gets to the semis or something. I don't know, but
I think they won't be loving each other. Any of the teams really. Man City never beat Liverpool. Liverpool have a good time against Chelsea, but in Europe especially. But at the moment, you could argue that Chelsea are the better team. Man City versus Chelsea. It's actually a tricky game. That would be quite a good game. But there are definitely, I think the English teams would definitely prefer
to avoid Bayern.
Would definitely prefer to play European teams that at the moment than their English counterparts.
Why do you think that is, Mike? Just because they've got too much familiarity with each other that it's sort of that they're working each other out because they've played each other so many times over the years in the league that
Sure.
there isn't that sort of maybe element of surprise. I know obviously at this top level you'd be saying, oh, it doesn't matter if the team's playing a team from another country, there's going to be the same preparation. They'll know the tactics they're setting up with, but because there's maybe more of a recent history of the English teams playing against each other, do they have a better know-how how to beat one another, or is that just
Well,
not true?
yeah. Well, I think they can't be too familiar. Let's say with Chelsea, because obviously it's Thomas Tuchel. They won't be familiar with him. They won't. I don't think Liverpool have played Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea yet. I think Man City have. I don't think Man City have either. But I might be wrong about that. I just think the main reason they want to play European teams more is that the European teams aren't as strong as they were maybe a few years ago, especially the Spanish teams. Yes, there is only one Spanish team left, but they are nowhere near the strength that they used to be.
And no Ronaldo as well.
No Ronaldo, Dortmund are not anywhere near as strong. PSG are probably this time the worst team to play against, and rightly so. They've had the hardest run in, I'd say. They had a group with Man U and RB Leipzig. They topped it, and then they've had to knock out Barca. So I think maybe
they're the ones to avoid them. Well, them and Bayern, I think you'd probably say the ones to avoid.
Exactly.
Let's move on to the Europa League. Tonight, just going to touch on the two fixtures that are sort of still in the balance. Rangers at home to Slavia Prague, with the first leg ending 1-1. And then AC Milan hosting Manchester United. As we discussed last week, that was a 1-1 game as well. I'm just going to come to you for predictions here. Man United, we'll start with the Man United game, away at the San Siro. Max, do you think that they'll be able to get through this one? I mean, the away goals will probably help them out this time, won't it? If they do get a goal.
Exactly, yeah. Well, but is Zlatan playing?
I think he's
back.
He's back.
Back in the squad.
Well, I think that'll be a massive. That'll obviously be a massive up for AC, but and there's no Cavani, is there?
Don't think so. No.
Cavani's still out, so I think it's going to be a good game actually. I mean, if AC Milan manage to nullify Fernandez and keep him quiet, I think obviously AC Milan will win. And if Man U manage to keep Zlatan quiet, Man U will probably win.
I can't see it being anything other than a 1-1 and going to extra time. That is, I would, put all my eggs in one basket there. I can't really see either team winning outright.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if any of the fixtures are going to go to extra time, that's the one.
I think for me, this actually favours Man United because we know how well they've done away from home this season. So they won't be phased going away from home, technically behind because Milan have the away goal over them, and feeling like they've got to chase the tie because they've done it so many times already this season. So I think I'd say they're the favourites, and I think they will progress maybe 2-1 tonight.
Yeah, I definitely do think they're the favourites, but yeah.
They are the bookies.
I'd tell, yeah. Well, the 19 to 20 to
20, yeah. And we'll be talking about this more in a bit more detail just next. But there's a couple English players there who will be buzzing after being selected in Southgate's squad, which will help them.
Back away, right.
Let's move on to that other fixture. Rangers hosting Slavia Prague. Rangers just won the Scottish Premier League. So as you were just saying there, Mike, Manchester United players who got selected for England will be buzzing. This Rangers team are flying. So they'll be going into this game with a lot of confidence, surely.
Absolutely. I don't, they won't even, Gerard will be saying, don't even focus on Celtic at the weekend. Another day in another situation, people could be saying the Rangers have a disadvantage here due to obviously having such a big game on the weekend. But, Stevie G will just be saying, get that completely out of your mind. It doesn't matter. All focus on tonight's game. The real issue is not having James Tavernier, the captain, playing. He's still injured, but he was injured in the last game against Prague. So
isn't this an opportunity for Rangers to really focus on the Europa League, because they've already wrapped up the Scottish Premier League, and now they don't need to. They could rest players in the league and really focus on this European competition, because it's been so long since Rangers were really competing in Europe.
Absolutely. And they won't have a better chance than this for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all the other teams don't actually look that great. Slightly envious of Rangers from getting through to the round of 16. But then again, from my experience, Slavia Prague are probably the at least one of the 3 best teams in Europe, because they beat us.
I think it'll be the same as what Mike said with the other fixture, going into extra time this one, because as you say, Max, Slavia Prague have proven they can beat the best, can't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Best, he says. I mean, with Rangers, I think personally it's a little bit less likely, because you see Rangers results this season in the league and in Europe, and they're all over the place. Right, you got 3-2s, 2-2s, 4-1s, everything. But Stevie G's just going to make them focus, keep them focused, and I think all the English are probably hoping that they get through. I hope so anyway.
Well, we're now going to go to a short break, and after the break, we'll be discussing the England squad that's just been announced today, and whether we think the squad selected by Gareth Southgate for these fixtures against San Marino, Albania, and Poland are the correct decisions. And we are back, and we're going to be discussing the England squad selected by Gareth Southgate for this week's England internationals. So first of all, I'll just run through the team selected by Southgate and give you a picture of who's been selected. So let's start off with the goalkeepers: Dean Henderson, Sam Johnston, Nick Pope. Defenders: Ben Chilwell, Connor Cody, Eric Dyer, Reece James, Harry Maguire, Tyrone Mings, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, and Kyle Walker. The midfielders: Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, Jesse Lingard, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice, and James Ward-Prowse. And finally, the forwards: Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, Raheem Sterling, and Ollie Watkins. So I'll come to Max first for this one. The main topic of discussion I've seen since that squad was announced was the exclusion of Trent Alexander-Arnold and also Aaron Wan-Bissaka. For you, do you think, let's start off with Trent, do you think that he should have had a place in this England squad?
Well, I think you've always got to be looking forward to the big tournaments, and you've always got to be sort of, even at this stage, crafting and knowing your best squad to play on that first game in the group stage. So would you be playing the replacements of Reece James, at the right back position, Reece James or Kyle Walker or Trips? I probably think I would prefer to play Reece James, Trippier and Walker over the Trent and Wan-Bissaka, to be honest. I feel like Wan-Bissaka is a brilliant player, but I don't think he's going to be as good for England as those 3. But obviously Trent is having a poor run of form at the minute. And if he's this poor till the end of the season, then I personally wouldn't take him as well. So he's had a tough decision there, and I think he's made the right one.
Mike, I'll come to you. What's your opinion on that selection? And do you think, because those 2 players aren't selected now, that there really is, unless due to injury, there's very slim chance of those 2 going to the Euros in the summer?
I think firstly, what stands out to me is how he's really picked, how Southgate's really picked flexible players in different positions.
Who do you think are these, say, adaptable, flexible players that you think Southgate's chosen?
Well, firstly, look at Eric Dyer, who I don't think should be in the England team, because you think of centre backs, he's not a natural centre back, and because of that, he's he's not as good as Maguire, he's not as good as John Stones, and then you look at midfield where he is naturally, a sitting midfielder. I don't think he's as good as Declan Rice or James Ward-Prowse, whereby Calvin Phillips, I'm not so sure. So.
I think with Dyer is that he started off his career in England. He started off his career in that holding role in midfield, and now he's starting to play in defence. And it's almost sort of, I wouldn't say too late in his development, but he's not being as good a central defender as the others we've
he's nothing crazy,
see in the squad.
I'm still a bit concerned about the centre back, to be honest, because you're taking also players like Mings. I'm just a bit like. I've always thought Villa fans have thought Conser's a lot better, even though it might be the left-sided, right-sided thing. Where does Mings play? Is he on the
lefty?
He's on the left, but you've also got Maguire who can play on the left. I don't really get why you're taking.
But he's a right footer, so it will be just right and left. The thing that this is also backs up what I'm saying about the flexibility. Tyrone Mings can play left back. He has done on a number of occasions for Villa. And used to Bournemouth.
Where England are going, I think personally, I wouldn't want to be taking players like Mings.
I thought Saka would be seen as a defender in the England squad as a left wing back, because we all know that they're going to be playing 5 at the back, right? I think everyone can agree on that.
It's what it looks like so far, based off how they played in the most recent friendlies and qualifiers.
But they've put him as a forward because we all know Saka can play pretty much in any position.
Well, I think left back's covered with Chilwell and Shaw, isn't it? Really? So
yeah, of course. Yeah.
If we're playing 4 at the back, I'll probably prefer Chilwell.
I think there's an argument that Kyle Walker's, I'd say, in some ways, lucky that he's in the team, because I think he's only actually in the squad because of his flexibility. If England play a back 3, he'll be on that right side of the back 3.
Exactly.
But I don't see him really being in that, say, right wing back role or as the right back over James or Trippier. Because if you look at Man City this season, Cancelo's been the number 1. Walker's been sort of the right back who plays in the cup competitions or where they rotate in the league. He's not been the first choice. And there's an argument to say, well, if he can't even get in his league side, which is something that is always used to determine whether England players should be in the squad, is if they're playing or not, maybe he shouldn't be in the squad at all.
At the beginning of the season, he was playing over Cancelo.
I mean, what I'm worried about is we're looking at these defenders and all of us just have no clue who will be starting in the World Cup. You've got so many players there. Like I feel like a lot of where England have been going wrong in the past is they've not really had a team set out. They're not the World Cup, sorry, the Euros. I keep saying the World Cup.
I think it's that weak midfield moving on.
This is for the World Cup qualifiers, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
Which is obviously, I just don't think that I feel like if we just had 4 or 5 players that you've sort of got, the other players have got to fight their position over, like it's the likes of other international teams actually do, and just keep playing the same. And then say if you're having a good run of form in the Premier League, then you sort of take on that player in that position. I sort of feel like that's how like other international teams operate.
I don't know. I think
we just seem to pick players out of a hat now and again, and then see if they work, and then they don't work, and then they do work, and then we have no idea who's playing.
I do know. Yeah.
Like when Trippier was, I don't know, absolutely in banging form in England, why didn't he just take that mantle until we decided someone else was around, played someone else and then decided he was better than Trippier or something like that.
Right back's the worst position to give an example there, because I think we have so many world-class right backs that I don't know. I'm a Liverpool fan. I don't even know if Trent's the best right back for Liverpool. Reece James's quality this season. Wan-Bissaka has been really good. Should have done that. But
there's an argument to say that Wan-Bissaka's inclusion should be there because he's the best defensively. I think we can all agree on that out of all the right backs we've discussed. But say if England get into a knockout game against a very good attacking side, that I don't know, France or Spain, someone like that, you need defenders. You need people to stop you conceding in the big moments.
But we go back again. We are 99% sure Southgate is going to play a 5 at the back. What do you need in a right wing back?
Attacking
a player
quality.
that can attack and quality.
And I think James, for me, is the one that provides the best attacking abilities and defensive sufficiencies, I'd say, because his delivery is very good.
This is it. It's moving on to the midfield. That's the biggest worry. But what we were saying with Grealish and Maddison, they should just be automatic inclusions. But if that midfield had started at the Euros, I wouldn't be happy. There's no leaders there at all. Maybe Calvin Phillips, but he won't start.
But they're also missing Jordan Henderson, which would be he's a
shoo-in.
The number one leader in that midfield.
I mean, you're clutching at straws to this midfield as well. I mean, I do think Jesse Lingard probably does deserve a call-up. But then again, you're looking at the future of England, and do you want to be? You've always got to be thinking about the future and thinking about the big tournaments. Is he going to get within a touching distance of what we're going to play when we get to the Euros? Probably not.
No.
So why take him just because he's had a little bit of fun in the league in the last 5 games?
I think that's a bizarre inclusion.
If you're just given a little bit of candy to him because he's played well. You're not going to go to the Euros and check Jesse Lingard. I'm sorry, but if he doesn't play a midfield three of Rice, Mount, and Foden in these games, and play those out and test them against these teams to see if they work, because they're those best three, and maybe switch in Bellingham if he's got time, and possibly touch on Phillips.
Oh, he doesn't say Ward-Prowse. He doesn't go for Ward-Prowse.
He doesn't go for Ward-Prowse because he's got. I'm afraid to say he's a great player. Players, huh?
I mean, you don't go for Ward-Prowse. I'm saying you left him out.
Oh, he's got better play. Well, I think we've just got better players than that. Yeah, he's good on the dead ball, and we probably do need that. But I feel like if he doesn't play the three I've said in Mount, Rice, and Foden, then he can. They're the best three in those. They're the forward-thinking players. We've got to be thinking about England and future generation, and they're the players that stand out to me. So,
let's move on to the forwards now. And the last, I think, debate over this squad is that the inclusion of Ollie Watkins over Patrick Bamford. If we look at their stats in the league, Watkins has 10 goals, 3 assists for Aston Villa, whereas Bamford has 13 goals and 5 assists for Leeds. Would you say that Bamford's very unlucky to not be included, looking at those stats and the performances this season?
No.
Why would you say that, Mike? Do you think Watkins is a better player?
I think FIFA lovers will be the only ones that disagree with me when it comes to Bamford and Watkins. If people have seen Bamford play more than about 3 or 4 times in actual games, they'll realise that Ollie Watkins is twice the player Bamford is. Yeah.
It's a bold statement.
Bamford's a poor man Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a poor man's Harry Kane. Right? He doesn't not even close. He's not even close to the England team.
So where does Watkins fit then? If you say Bamford's a poor man's Dominic Calvert-Lewin, is Watkins behind Calvert-Lewin then? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, actually. I think Watkins has the potential to be
to be better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I've always said Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a bit like Bamford, have just been thriving this season because of the sheer kind of quality in midfield that both those teams have, Leeds and Everton. Their best assets, right, are the midfields.
I'm not sure about Calvert-Lewin in that statement. I feel like at the start of the season he was just heading, picking goals up from God knows where. He was unbelievable, but obviously slowed down a lot. But
Yeah, striker scores header from 6 yards. Stop the presses.
Calvert-Lewin fully fit?
Huh?
Is Calvert-Lewin fully fit?
Yeah.
He's back to it.
Yeah.
He's just not been included full non-stop.
He has. He's in it. He's in the squad.
Oh, sorry, yes. Yeah, I don't know this one, to be honest, because it probably goes against what I've been saying about looking for what I've been spewing in the last looking forward to big competitions. You're probably not going to take, you're probably more likely to take Watkins to bigger competitions than Bamford. But then again, I do feel like with Bamford's league form and what he's done in the league, I do think he's done a better job than Watkins. Even though he's missing a lot of chances, it's not stick for it. I do think with the assists, with players he brings into the game as well, I feel like Watkins is a target man. Well, he's not a target man, but he's not much as he doesn't bring players in. He does.
He plays down the he can play down the lines as well, Watkins, and Bamford cannot do that. And
yeah, we've already got the wingers to play down the lines.
Yeah, but yeah, true.
I feel like I don't know. I just feel like he plays a bit more like Kane than Watkins does. Bamford.
He does. I agree. I do agree with that.
It might be a nice inclusion, Bamford. But
however, the thing is though that Rashford and Sterling both have experience playing as that kind of number 9 sort of player, right? Or that kind of centre forward role. So I'd like to see sort of that mix around, But this is silly anyway. This is all kind of theoretical because Harry Kane will be playing, and so he will stay in that sort of role right in front of goal.
Yeah.
But if he's not playing, I'd like to see those 3 maybe moving things around.
Personally, I feel like very sorry for players the likes of mainly the Leicester players, to be honest, that were going to get their. I would say most likely going to get their first England call-ups. James Justin looked like he was going to be a dead cert to at least get in the squad, I thought. And so same again with Harvey Barnes, and you end up taking players. Probably, I'd even say with the team he's brought out, I'd even possibly say he might have taken James Justin over Chilwell, and obviously I think he would have taken Barnes over players like Watkins.
Mike's looking a bit shocked here.
What? Okay, no bias here whatsoever. No, definitely not.
Well, I'm sure we're going to be.
Oh, well, Leicester, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, there's possibly other players that I've forgotten that have been injured and not got the call up. Obviously, like the likes of Grealish, he was probably meant to be actually start. Maddison and Grealish probably actually meant to start a game, which they haven't. Maddison's still not started a game, I believe, which is I think's shocking. But then again, he still takes players like Lingard, doesn't he?
There you go.
If England win all these games, and we're going to assume that Southgate is going to play that 3 at the back formation, if they ease through these fixtures and maybe the friendlies even before the Euros, they continue to play that 3 at the back, would you as fans still be concerned with playing that formation, or would you accept that it brings the results? Because there's a lot of debate over whether if Southgate should just play 4 at the back, 3 in midfield and 3 strikers, because that's what the players available, it looks like, is the best suited to the squad.
Well, I've no idea what formation they should play at the minute. I've always been quite against the main trend of people saying that they should switch back to 4 at the back, and I've just said no, we've got to stick to 5 at the back because our defence is so poor and we just need that extra man, I feel. But then now I'm thinking, is the way forward going to be play your best attackers and just hope to sort of outscore the opposition and just let Maguire and whatnot sort of run around at the back headless? But so I sort of literally don't know, but what I do know is that he's got to decide soon, or we'll get to June. It is March now. We've got to decide soon what we're doing, and we've got to stick to that, because I feel like for Southgate now, if he's not decided what formation he's playing and he's still faffing around with it like he has been for the past 2 years, then he needs to take a good hard look in the mirror.
It reminds me of when I think it was Hodgson was going to the Euro 2016, and in the friendlies to prepare for the tournament, weeks before the tournament was starting, he was switching the formation around with, say, playing Kane and Vardy as they were playing a diamond midfield and Kane and Vardy as wide strikers. And by the time we got to the tournament, we never played that formation again. So as you're touching on there, he's got to decide now. Otherwise, he's sort of wasting games to prepare.
Exactly. That's all I want. I don't care if we play 5 or 4 at the back. I just want a system to rely on, and to rely on when we play that first game. That's all I want. I'm not really too bothered about the formation at this point. I feel like the thing I like about Southgate is his qualities in man management. I feel like he does have that motivational vibe that he's got, and I feel like that is compared to international football to domestic leads. I feel like that's integral to it, in having that, making sure that the players feel really motivated and want to work together, especially in England with all these clashings of clubs and personalities. I feel like he really brought that alive again in the last 2 years, which you didn't see previously. So I feel like that's the main quality I like about him. But tactically and formation wise, I feel like in international football, you stick to it and it will sort of prove you well. But then again, I feel like it is the hardest international team to put a formation together for. So he has got a tough job. The hardest job in football.
Right. Okay. I think you can see that. I think you can see just hints from the team that, that at least it's going to be 3 at the back, right? It's, everyone's a centre back, basically, right?
Yeah.
So
everyone in that squad can pretty much play centre back at some point.
Yeah, it just hits me that it's going to be at least 3 at the back. Well, it will be 3 at the back, i.e., 5 at the back.
Who would you play in that 3 then?
At the moment, at the moment it would be. I hate putting Harry Maguire in. I hate it, but I think he has to play. I'll
probably say Cody in the middle, Maguire on the left, and then Stones on the right.
You say Cody Maguire Stones,
and then you've got decent ball players in Maguire and Stones that can sort of maraud a bit on the left and right.
Well, surely
pass to the pivots and stuff in the midfield and sort of get out of the defence that way.
I think Maguire would actually be in the centre because, like you said, he can play on the left or the right. Connor Cody's always kind of been the right sider, right? So either way,
I wouldn't want to play Maguire in the middle in the back 3 because of his the stuff he gets up to in terms of falling over and literally looking lost half the time. Well, some of the time.
Well, yeah. Well, but he's in the squad and he's going to be the captain. So, oh no, he's not. It's going to be Kane.
I wouldn't be surprised if the 3 are going to be the exact same that started the World Cup in 2018: Walker, Stones, and Maguire.
Where did Maguire play in there? He
played on the left of the 3,
and then Stones in the middle.
Yeah,
I feel like Maguire's playing. If we're playing a back 5, back 3, Maguire's on the left. Actually, yeah, I do feel like it does. Just the defense just does look like
it screams.
It screams the 18 World Cup, and then putting Shaw on the left. It just does, doesn't it? He's definitely going to try that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not. Well,
it's going to be 5. It's going to be 5 at the back, a defensive 5, and it's not going to be 3. It's going to be 5 because those players are more defensive than they are attacking. I'd say Spain play a 3, right? England play a 5, right? So
let's leave it there for now. I'm sure we'll be discussing England a lot more in the future in the build-up to the Euros. We're going to go to another break. Welcome back to Get Warmed Up. And now it's the part of the show where we'll be doing our game this week. It's another round of Who Am I? So I'll pass you over to Mike again this week.
Great. Okay. Yep. 7 questions max. You know how it is. The boys compete against each other to see who can guess the Who Am I player the fastest. So we'll start with Ed, and then to Max, and then Max can start, and Ed, and etc. So
do we get one guess each per?
You get one guess per round, and it switches who goes first after each guess.
All right.
So it's fair. Okay. So Max, I recently moved to the MLS.
Recently moved to the MLS. Zlatan.
No.
He came back.
Recently. How recent is recently?
Within the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. Surely we can guess it from this.
Have fun.
How niche is it?
I can't think. The only
I'm right.
the only player I can think of who's gone to the MLS, the West Brom goalkeeper is called Jonathan Bond, and he went to LA Galaxy in January.
I love the knowledge, but no. Okay, right. Second question. Ed has 1 international cap for England.
Ooh. Well, so they've gone to MLS. I presume their career's sort of teetering away. So 1 England cap. So they're probably quite old as well. MLS.
Can I say? Can I say someone?
Yeah.
Jay Bothroyd?
Wrong. I think he's still playing in Thailand.
This is wrong because he's been in the MLS for a while. Well, he was. I think he retired now. Liam Ridgewell.
No. Liam Ridgewell. Great guess, though. Well, he was at the Portland Timbers, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was the Portland Timbers captain. That's it. No. Okay, so Max, number 3. Played for 1 club in England over 400 times.
1 club in England over 400 times. And he's played for England, so he must have played for that team in the Prem at some point. 400 times. No,
he's a one-man club guy.
Sure, he's a
one-club man.
And he just thought he would drop everything to go to America. No idea. I'm just going to say, even though it's not him, I'm just going to say Kevin Nolan.
Honestly, I was this close to doing a Kevin Nolan Who Am I Today anyway, though, so good guess. I looked up, I had to Google the Bolton team of 2004. Any football fan will know how
iconic that team was.
It was iconic.
Back to, what was it? So they played for over 400 times in. I've got to do some guess. English 400 times. Oh. You know what? Is it Liam Ridgewell?
You love Liam Ridgewell? No. Right. Number 4, and this is where things get a little bit easier. Actually, I'm going to switch them around because I think that's too easy. Right. Next one is started his pro career at Man U.
Everyone did play. There's no clue.
It's a hard clue, yeah. The next one should be fine.
Oh, God. England 1 time. 400.
No caps. No caps.
Oh, so we play.
Started at Man U. No professional caps.
Oh, I thought you meant for England. Ravel Morrison. No, that's just not right.
I like it though. Definitely has not played 400
He's definitely
times.
he's definitely not a one club man.
And he's
Definitely not a one club man.
I don't even think he's played at least like 50 times in his career, let alone 400.
Right, Beckley.
Oh. He's played for. Gone to the MLS. I asked this last week and I asked this again. Should we have got it by now or be closer than we are?
No, it's quite a hard one. Well, I mean, what I've given you is quite hard. However, the next clue I think should get things going. So just guess anything, really, I guess. Beckley.
Who's gone to somewhere like Miami? Somewhere like that.
I hope people at home are probably scratching at the screens, scratching at their earphones. You might be along the right lines though, Ed.
I feel like Inter Miami's. Who's joined them? You know what? I can't remember who's joined them, but I know who the owner is. David Beckham.
Yeah. Sorry, no, but that is the owner, I guess. Okay, next one. He was a Premier League villain for a number of years.
Oh, it's not Robbie Savage again.
No, it's not Robbie Savage.
Oh, he's Welsh anyway. But...
And after what he said about Norwich recently in the press, I will not be speaking about Robbie Savage ever again.
Premier League villain.
Premier League villain. He's a Premier League villain. He's playing the MLS.
Who's a one club man, Max? Who's played for Who's played over 400 times for a team? They're just known. They're attached to that team. We never even think of their name.
That's the right lines. You're on the right lines.
Oh, is it Troy Dean? No, it's not him.
That's your guess. Cool. Beckley.
Ryan Shawcross. Yes.
Ryan Shawcross.
Oh.
There you go. The next questions were he's 33 years of age, and the last one was Tony Pulis was his longest serving manager. So there you are.
I like that one, Mike. Oh.
Broke someone's leg, didn't they? Eduardo was.
No, it was Ramsey.
Yeah.
Oh, Ramsey.
It was a Birmingham player that broke Eduardo. It was like, oh no, wait, I might be wrong.
No, yeah, Martin Tyler for Birmingham broke Eduardo's leg.
Martin Tyler, what, the commentator?
No, Martin Taylor, sorry, not Martin Tyler.
I was going to say, how long ago was that? Martin Tyler's about 95.
Thanks for that, Mike. So now it's time for the final segment of this week's show, which is our Premier League predictions. There's only 4 games this week. We're only previewing 3, so sorry to Aston Villa vs Tottenham. You're missing out on our very knowledgeable previews. But we'll start with the game at the Amex this week, Brighton against Newcastle. The game that last week, I think I touched on, was it Brighton's game last week, and then Max, you said this game is a massive one for both their seasons. Brighton have only got 1 win in the last 6, with the same actually for Newcastle. And Newcastle's last win was actually against Southampton, which is similar to Brighton's. Last week, their win was also against Southampton. So they're making use of Southampton's poor form at the moment. Brighton won this reverse fixture 3-0. But will it be as easy as that this time round?
I personally feel like, even though they're both in bad form, I feel like Brighton, they have still been sticking to their football, and they've been playing all right. They've just not been getting results. I feel like Newcastle are the team that have been dropping out dropping in and out of form horrendously and do look woeful at the minute. I can't think of their last couple results, but I do.
They got a last minute equaliser, 1-1.
Newcastle, they've drawn their last 3 games.
They've drawn the last 3 games, which I think I'm very lucky to draw those last 3 games, to be honest. Without Callum Wilson playing as well, I can't see Newcastle putting up a fight against Brighton here. I feel like Brighton will hopefully get the 3 points because
hopefully.
I just sort of don't want to see Steve Bruce's face again. He's just, I just don't. He's just proved so many times just be a poor, awful manager. I just don't get how. I just don't get how teams are still hiring the bloke.
Well, this is the 6-pointer we were talking about, right? Remember a couple weeks ago, or whatever. I think it's going to be such a cagey game. Oh, it will be so cagey. It'll be 1-1 at max, 1-1 or a 1-0 each way. You know, it'll be one of those terrible game. Last on match of the day, the usual.
However, I'll just interrupt you there, Mike. The last time you said that, it was West Brom against Newcastle, and you did say it'd be the last on match of the day, 0-0, and you were correct. So
yeah,
maybe you'll be right for this one.
yeah. It's just, but Newcastle not to lose.
If you look at the table now, Brighton sit in 16th, 29 points. Newcastle in 17th with 28. A win for Brighton takes them up to 32. A win for Newcastle obviously takes them up to 31. Would you say that if either team win this game, they've really on the verge of being safe now, entering the over 30 points? And, you know, as we've seen before, it takes about 36, 37 points to be safe, and they'll be close to achieving that now.
What are Fulham now? 28.
I would say
sitting on 26, but they've played a game more than the two against both. They played a game more, than Brighton and Newcastle.
Okay.
I feel out of the 3 of Brighton, Newcastle, Fulham, I feel like Newcastle is still. I think they're the favourites to go down, even though they've got a game in hand over Fulham. I just think they're in that. They look that bad, and Fulham look quite decent at the minute. I actually do think that even maybe a win would keep things up, but you never know. With 9 games to go, I don't really think you could call it. But all I know is that I think hopefully Brighton stay up, because I do like the style of football, and I do also think all they need is someone to put the ball back in the back of the net. They've got so many. They make so many chances.
So looking at this game, then, as you say there, Max, they've created so many chances. Do you think they'll take them and win this match? What's your score prediction?
2-0 to Brighton.
1-1 again.
And I think I agree with Max that Brighton will come through this with 3 points, but Newcastle may give it sort of a late fight, as they usually do in games, to try and get a draw, but 2-1 to Brighton for me.
The Magpies are sticky birds.
Let's move on to the game between Fulham and Leeds. Leeds have only got 1 win in their last 6 league games, and Fulham are looking to pick up points now against teams in and around them. They've obviously faced Spurs, Liverpool, and City their last 3 games. In the earlier game this season, this was 4-3 to Leeds, and it was the classic start of Fulham really missing penalties. Mitrovic missed a penalty that day. But I know we talked about it was a must-win for either Brighton or Newcastle in terms of pushing away from the relegation battle. Is this even more of a must-win for Fulham? Because if one of those teams, as we've discussed above, Brighton or Newcastle, push further away, then it leaves Fulham cut adrift.
Yeah, I possibly do think it all just depends on that other result, doesn't it? If there's a draw in that game, then maybe they can pick up points later, but I doubt it. But I'm just looking at Fulham's last games, and they can pick up a lot of points in their last 9 games. They've got Newcastle at the end of the season. They've got Southampton towards the end, and they're also playing Burnley. So they can pick up some major points there.
Do you know Newcastle's fixtures?
Pardon?
Do you know Newcastle's fixtures? Should we look them up quickly?
Yes, we can. Newcastle's fixtures are very.
A bit harder. Yeah, okay.
They're very similar to Fulham's actually. They are in the next couple of games. They have got obviously Fulham, as I've said. They've got also Sheffield United, which they could roll over. They've also got Arsenal as well.
Arsenal, Liverpool, and Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs. 3 in the next 5 games.
Yeah, no. Newcastle's fixtures are quite woeful. They're quite tough.
Then Sheffield United and Fulham right at the end, though, which might make things. Oh God, that is tough for Newcastle. Oh dear, I don't know.
So what do we think with this Fulham game then? What do we think with this Fulham game? Home to Leeds.
Leeds looking awful.
Do we see Fulham winning this one?
Getting a result, I think. Fulham have nothing to play for. It's classic Bielsa second half of season syndrome. They'll be, they kind of are off the boil now. I don't think it'll be a good game. Probably a 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1 again.
I think I agree with you. I'm going to go for 1-1.
I'd probably say Fulham are going to get a point out of it as well. 2-2, I'd say.
Good guess.
Let's move on to the final fixture that we're looking at this week, and it's West Ham at home to Arsenal. Arsenal won this reverse fixture 2-1, but in the head-to-head between these two sides, West Ham only have 1 win in their last 11 games against Arsenal. West Ham are sitting in 5th on 48 points, behind Chelsea on 4th, who are on 51, but West Ham have a game in hand. Before we look at the fixture itself, how impressed have you been with West Ham this season? And do you think they should be included more when people discuss who's going to finish in the top 4 as serious candidates?
I don't think necessarily they should be considered serious candidates at the minute, because there is still a 8-point gap between Leicester and West Ham, and I feel like a lot of people have already got Chelsea and Man U bob on to finish in the top 4, and I feel like the only team that are possibly dropping out of that top 4 is Leicester. So I think to seriously put them in contention, like as it's theirs to lose sort of thing, or they are still very much underdogs in the top 4 race, and it would be completely 8 points ahead Leicester to lose.
8 points though. Big.
8 points big, that's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
Serious, but then again,
the game.
I've been very impressed with them.
I've
been they have got a game in hand as well. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
I've been extremely impressed with them, and West Ham are playing Leicester in 2 games' time. So,
I think you could argue that Moyes will get manager of the year, manager of the season. I think for sure. But I only think he'll get that if they do finish top 4. If they finish 5th, probably not. You could even say Tuchel might even get it. Jeez, who knows?
I feel that's a bit of disrespect on Rodgers, though, if to not put him in contention for that.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, then it's either Rodgers or Moyes, right? Yeah.
Well, let's actually look at this fixture at the London Stadium now. Arsenal, obviously coming off the back of a win against Spurs, the North London derby last weekend, of playing in the Europa League this week against Olympiacos. Do we see Arsenal coming and getting a away win here, or is it more of the same from West Ham this season, surprising people and continuing to push for the top 4?
I personally think Arsenal are looking very underrated at the minute. I really like the style of play. I thought when they came to the King Power, they absolutely crushed us, to be honest. Even though they are, as I'm saying this, they are drawing at home to Olympiacos 0-0. So I can't be too confident about them. But they do look very good. I feel like even though at the start of the season would have been an advocate for. I was surprised not to see them sack Arteta, and I probably thought he should have got the cut then because they were that poor. I do feel like they are starting to pick things up, and they got a good play. They've brought good January signings in like Odegaard. So I feel like I feel like Arsenal are going to take this one.
I think it's a battle
away.
A battle on the wings. This match, it's going to be really interesting to see Kufal and Cresswell against the wingers of Arsenal. It'll be interesting to see kind of who gets the brunt of those battles, and I think whoever does get the brunt of those battles will end up winning the game.
I mean, I'm just looking at Arteta Moyes head to head as well. Arteta's won twice against Moyes.
That's such a silly stat. It just doesn't even matter. It just doesn't even matter. It's one of those kind of stats, right?
So, Mike, if I had to push you for a score prediction, then
2-1 Arsenal.
And I think I'm going to completely disagree and go 2-1 to West Ham. I just think playing in midweek, Arsenal, West Ham have a week to prepare, and I just think they'll carry on their momentum in the league.
Arsenal, though, buzzing after the North London derby, so who knows?
Well, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you for listening. Join us next week talking all things football on Get Warmed Up. You're coming on. Have a great week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.